Hey everyone, welcome to Patrick Dugan Music. Today we're going to cover some basic technique for the right and left hands and also learn the note names on each string on the guitar neck. So starting with some basic technique, your right hand holding the pick. So we want to make a relaxed fist and use our thumb here on the side of our index finger to hold our pick. Right, so you can see that the pick is secured against the side of my index finger with the big part of my thumb. So if you extend your hand out, the pick should be facing down perpendicular to your thumb. And within that grip, you can move the pick around a little bit, but you want to keep the rest of these fingers kind of relaxed, just like you would a relaxed fist, and we're not squeezing too tight. So that's your right hand. Now, as far as the left hand goes, we want to make sure that the thumb is going to be about opposite of your middle finger on the back of the neck. Cool, and you can see that sometimes you may see my thumb sticking up a little bit, but the best practice for your technique is to have that thumb somewhere on the upper half of the guitar neck back here, or even right on the middle of the neck if you want, so that there's a little bit of space between the palm of your hand and the bottom of the neck. Alright, and if you want to, you can also kind of stretch your fingers out so that each finger kind of takes up one fret. And again, the thumb is on the back about opposite of the middle finger. We have some space underneath. We're holding the pick correctly. Alright, so let's dig into learning some note names. So we already learned how to tune the guitar to E, B, G, D, A, E, or Everybody Goes Dancing After Eating. The way that the notes fall on the guitar is it follows this rule. All of the note names are the musical alphabet letters A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. They will be 2 frets apart on the guitar neck, with the exception of E and F and B and C, which will always be right next to each other. So we know that the bottom string, string number 1, is an E. That means that after E in the musical alphabet comes F, E's and F's will be right next door to each other. So this is true no matter where we go on the guitar neck. Anytime we have an E, we're going to have an F right next door. So E's and F's are always next to each other. Alright, so we're on an F. After F in the musical alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, comes G. 2 frets higher is a G. After G in the musical alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, it starts back to an A. So 2 frets higher is an A. After A comes B, that's 2 frets higher. After B comes C. Remember, B's and C's are always next to each other. So this C will be 1 fret higher than the B. And then also notice my technique when I'm pushing these notes down. I'm just using my index finger, and I have my finger positioned towards the right corner inside of the fret. So I'm not totally in the middle of the fret, I'm not in the left half of the fret. I'm kind of scooting over to cozy up against this fret wire on the right side of the fret without going completely over top of it. So anyways, we're on a C. After C comes D, that's 2 frets higher. After D comes E, that's 2 frets higher. And we have reached the 12th fret. Cool, so things will, that whole pattern will start over again at the 12th fret. So for our purposes today, we're just going to go up to the 12th fret. And then you can work on the higher frets on your own once you get them up to fret 12. So this is an E. Going backwards, 2 frets lower is a D. Going backwards, 2 frets lower is a C. 2 frets lower than, or sorry, 1 fret lower than that is B, because B's and C's are always next door. 2 frets lower is an A. 2 frets lower is a G, 2 frets lower is an F, back to open string E. Cool, so all together on string 1 again, that was E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. Reverse, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E. Use the position markings on the fretboard to help you memorize where those notes are located on string number 1. Cool, moving on to string 2. Starts with a B like boy. After B in the alphabet, in the musical alphabet, comes C. Remember, B's and C's are always next to each other. So C's here on the 1st fret. After C, 2 frets higher is a D. After D, 2 frets higher is an E. After E, 1 fret higher is an F, because E's and F's are always next door. After F, 2 frets higher is a G. After G, 2 frets higher is an A. After A, 2 frets higher is a B, and we hit the 12th fret, and we're back to the note that we started on. So this is a B going backwards, B, 2 frets lower is A, 2 frets lower is G, 2 frets lower is F, 1 fret lower is E, 2 frets lower is D, 2 frets lower is C, 1 fret lower is B. Altogether that string one more time is B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. Backwards, B, A, G, F, E, D, C, B. Again, use the fret markings to help you memorize where some of these notes are located. For example, you can remember that D is here on the 1st dot, and E is on the 2nd dot. On to string number 3, which starts with an open G, like girl. So G is at the end of the musical alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, which means we're going to start over again to get the next note, which will be 2 frets higher and an A on the 2nd fret. 2 frets higher than an A comes B. 1 fret higher than B is a C, because B's and C's are always next to each other. 2 frets higher than a C is a D. 2 frets higher than a D is an E. 1 fret higher than an E is an F. 2 frets higher than an F is a G. And we hit the 12th fret, and we turn around and go back the other way. G, 2 frets lower is an F. 1 fret lower is an E. 2 frets lower is a D, like dog. 2 frets lower is a C. 1 fret lower is a B. 2 frets lower is an A. 2 frets lower is an open G. So altogether that string one more time was G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Reverse, G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G. Going on to string number 4. Starts with an open D, like dog. After D in the musical alphabet comes E on the 2nd fret. 1 fret higher than an E is going to be F, because E's and F's are always right next door. 2 frets higher than an F is a G. 2 frets higher than a G is an A. 2 frets higher than an A is a B. B's and C's are always next to each other, so C is 1 fret higher. 2 frets higher than a C is a D, back on the 12th fret. Reverse, this is a D, 2 frets lower is a C, 1 fret lower is a B, 2 frets lower is an A, 2 frets lower is a G, 2 frets lower is an F, 1 fret lower is an E, 2 frets lower is open string D. That string one more time is D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. Reverse, D, C, B, A, G, F, E, D. On to string number 5, which is an open A, like apple. After A in the musical alphabet is B, 2 frets higher, on the 2nd fret. B's and C's are always next to each other, so C is the 3rd fret. Notice my finger placement on that. I'm using the tip of my finger. I have my finger curved, right? A little bit of space underneath, and I'm pushing down close to the right edge of the fret. This is a C. 2 frets higher than C is D. 2 frets higher than D is E. 1 fret higher than E is F. 2 frets higher than F is G. 2 frets higher than G is A. We hit the 12th fret, turn around, this is an A. 2 frets lower is a G. 2 frets lower is an F. 1 fret lower is an E. 2 frets lower is a D. 2 frets lower is a C. 1 fret lower is a B. 2 frets lower is A. That string one more time is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Reverse. A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. On to the last string, string number 6. You'll notice that string 1 and 6 are both tuned to an E, like elephant. So this would be the best place to start to learning the notes on all 6 strings. You need to have some kind of starting point, so that 2 outside strings is the way to go for that. Because if you learn the note names on string 1, it's going to be the same note names on string 6, but 2 octaves lower. Cool, so string 6 is an E like elephant. Remember, E's and F's are always next to each other, so F is the 1st fret. After F, 2 frets higher is a G. G is the end of the line, so 2 frets higher is an A. 2 frets higher than A is B. 1 fret higher is a C. 2 frets higher than a C is a D. 2 frets higher than D is E again. Turning around, E. 2 frets lower is a D. 2 frets lower is a C. 1 fret lower is a B. 2 frets lower is an A. 2 frets lower is a G. 2 frets lower is an F. 1 fret lower is an E. String 6 one more time is E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. Reverse. E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E. So, learning the note names is obviously something that's going to be important for any musical instrument. And one mistake that guitar players frequently make when they're starting off is they don't bother to learn the note names on all 6 strings across the neck. They might learn some of them on string 6 maybe, or maybe they're just focusing on tabs, but take some time to at least think through that on all 6 strings, so you can start the process of being able to memorize those note names. You're not going to be able to do it in one try. You're going to have to keep revisiting that over and over again, and maybe do it one piece at a time. So I'd recommend starting with strings 1 and 6, then maybe adding string 5, then maybe adding string 4, then strings 3 and 2. But eventually we need to get all 6 strings, memorizing where the note names are. Now we talked about an octave a little bit, right? So an octave is going to be where we have the same note name, the same letter name, but it's in a different register. So like from the open string to the 12th fret is an octave. It means we have traveled through the entire musical alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and landed on the same note again. Cool, so we can also use octaves to help us with identify some note names on the guitar. Right, knowing that the 12th fret is the same note as the open string is going to be an easy starting point. But we can also use octaves to help learn one string to the next. So if we know that this note is a G on string 6, using an octave, we can find the G on string 4. Right now there are several different shapes, ways to do octaves on the guitar. Let me show you at least 1 or 2 ways right now. If you play the 3rd fret on string 6 with your index finger, you can find the octave on the 5th fret on string 4 with your ring finger. So that is 3rd fret string 6 up to 5th fret string 4. These notes are both a G like girl, and they're 1 octave apart. So as you slide up the neck, this finger spacing will continue to be an octave. So using octaves to help map out the guitar neck is a great idea. It's going to ultimately mean less work for you, less memorization work, if you can start to also have a second way to figure that out. But don't get me wrong, you still want to know that this on its own is a G, but knowing that these are both Gs may help you think through that faster if you get stuck. Alright, so this octave shape will also work if you go to strings 5 and 3. So I am spaced out with a fret in between, an empty fret in between, and my ring finger is a string, or I should say is 2 strings lower than my index finger. Just like how we did the octaves on strings 6 and 4, we can do the same move on strings 5 and 3. However, when we go to strings 4 and 2, we're going to have to stretch over on string 2 to make this work. So I would recommend using your index and pinky. Notice that I have 2 empty frets in between. My pinky finger's on string 2, my index finger's on string 4. So to do an octave between strings 4 and 2, we need to stretch over like that and use the index and pinky. This will slide up and down the strings. And then we can take this shape down a string for strings 3 and 1. Same concept. We have to stretch out though with the pinky finger so that there are 2 empty frets between the index and the pinky fingers. This is going to give us another octave from strings 3 to 1. Right, so to review that again, if you're on strings 6 and 4, it's going to be index and ring finger spaced out 2 frets, so that there is 1 empty fret in between. Same shape when you go to strings 5 and 3. However, when you go to strings 4 and 2, you need to stretch out 1 more fret with your pinky finger to make that happen. And then same thing on strings 1 and 3. There are a few other ways to do octaves as well. For example, the 3rd fret on string 1, you can find an octave to the 5th fret on string 4. Those two are the same note. That will also work on strings 2 and 5. 3rd fret string 2 is 1 octave higher than 5th fret string 5. Cool, and we're just going to stick with those two. There are some other ways to do octaves, but, right, like I could use my pinky and my index finger, but we're going to skip that one for right now. You just need 1 or 2 of these to help you learn the notes on the guitar. We will talk about octaves in a bit of a deeper dive in a future lesson. So for right now, we want to start to be able to, if we can just play any note on the string, know that that is an A, or that this is a G, or an F. But what about the notes in between? So between F and G, remember F is on the 1st fret, string 1. G is on the 3rd fret, string 1. So what's the note on the 2nd fret? So this note on the 2nd fret has 2 possible names. We can call it F sharp because it is 1 fret higher than an F, or we can call it G flat because it is 1 fret lower than a G. So this note is an F sharp or a G flat. Let's look at another one. Between the 3rd and 5th frets, the 3rd fret is a G, the 5th fret is an A. So 3rd fret's a G, 5th fret's an A. What's the 4th fret? Well, it's either a G sharp because it's 1 fret higher than G, or it's an A flat because it's 1 fret lower than A. It's the same note either way, but it might be written as a G sharp or an A flat. So depending on the key signature of the song that you're playing, is either going to treat this note as a G sharp or an A flat, or you're going to encounter an accidental where they're going to write in either a G sharp or an A flat if this note comes up. Cool. Otherwise, either way, there's going to be a process for determining which one we call it. So if we are in a key signature that is using sharps, then it's probably going to be a G sharp. If we are playing a line that's going up chromatically, we're probably going to use a sharp to imply upward motion. If we are in a key that is using flats, it's probably going to be called an A flat. If we are playing a line that is descending chromatically, we'll probably also call it an A flat to imply downward motion. Alright, so we have these in-between notes, and we want to get to a point where on any one particular string, if we just randomly play a note, we know that's a C, a B flat, G sharp, F sharp, E flat, C sharp, right? And you can quiz yourself by just picking out those notes like that. If you get stuck, then you're going to have to count all the way from the open string, E, F, G, A, B, C, and then figure out that this was 1 fret higher, C sharp. Right? So if you don't immediately know what the note name is, then start over and count up from the bottom until you can figure it out. Alright, and then one extra piece of information here. On the guitar, each fret is called a half step. So going from one fret to the next means we are going up or down in half steps. If we go 2 frets at a time, these are called whole steps. A whole step is equal to 2 frets on a guitar. Okay, so when something is spaced out 2 frets like that, like an F and a G, we can say that the G is a whole step higher than the F. And between the E and the F, which are right next to each other, we can say that the F is a half step higher than the E. So all of the other instruments will use the terms whole step and half step to describe the distance between two different notes. Right? But on the guitar, we can see it as being frets, but just remember that each fret is going to be one half step, and 2 frets is a whole step. All right, so take some time and map out those note names on all 6 strings, but go ahead and start with strings 1 and 6. All right, I hope you enjoyed that one. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.